going to go back for a minute to Israel. The Goldstone report, which is anti-Israel, was condemned 366 to 46 by the House of Representatives. You didn't vote, Mr. Pallone. Yes or no, would you condemn the Goldstone report?
Oh, absolutely. And I would also point out that one of the things that I worked on very strongly, if you remember when Turkey sent the flotilla to Israel, I condemned the Turkish government. I asked that the State Department look into the what I think is a terrorist organization that was pretending to be a humanitarian organization that was behind that effort to essentially, which resulted in the death of Israeli sailors. I also made it quite clear that we were not going to have another commission by the United Nations that would be biased, that would be set up to look into what happened in the case of the flotilla, because I knew that a UN commission would be very biased. And thankfully, the Israeli government itself is now investigating that, which I think makes sense because I think they would do a more responsible job than the United Nations. I think that we have to be very supportive of Israel and not let international organizations like the UN or its agencies or subgroups to take biased positions against Israel, because they always do. And that's why it's important to not let the U.S. Get involved in those and encourage those kinds of international investigations.
Thank you. Ms. Little, if you were in the House when it was voting on the Goldstone report, how would you vote and why?
I would condemn it. We have to stand up for Israel. We need to support our ally in the Middle East. We need to go further than just paying attention when people ask the question. We need to follow through on our positions with regard to things as elected officials. You know, I would feel much better about the Congressman's answers if I saw the action and heard the words when he was on the floor in the House. It's nice to sit here and tell us this now, but we need to see you active in the House. When the Goldstone report was voted on, we needed to have your vote registered.
Ms. Little, what is your view on open homosexuals serving in the military?
I think things are fine the way they are. I do not think we should continue discriminatory practice by taking a look at what someone's sexual orientation is when we are being offered their skills in defense of this nation. The military lay their lives on the line every single day so that we can live in peace here in the United States. Without the military service of all Americans who are willing to volunteer, whose families are willing to make that sacrifice, we would not have America today. We need to stand up for our military personnel. We need to stop scrutinizing them, and we certainly should not be using the operations within the military organizations for political purposes.
Well, I think there's another example, like with abortion, where I don't know where Ms. Little stands. That things are fine the way they are, which I take to mean that she would not want to repeal the don't ask, don't tell policy. I think that it should be repealed. I think that gays should be allowed to serve in the military. And it wasn't clear to me at all where her position was on that.
As a Rutgers University student, the person writing, looking at over $40,000 in loans this year when I graduate, what do you intend to do to offset higher education costs?
First, we're going to get rid of top-down mandates. You see, the majority of the budget for education is spent on administration. That administration is either in compliance with top-down government mandates in education or in the application process for the limited give back you might get from a grant. The focus of education spending needs to be in the classroom. The teachers are best equipped to direct curriculum and a student's education. I also believe in school choice. As a congresswoman, I would not be able to directly affect that except in the DC schools. However, I would promote that concept going forward. I do believe in some cases there's double taxation related to education, where the religious stringency requires a certain type of school, which is not available in our public education system today.
Well, I think the question related to paying for an education at Rutgers, and I think we've already made some improvements at the federal level, and we need to do more. We increased at least 2 times in the last Congress the amount of money that's available for Pell Grants. We also passed a GI Bill where if you are someone who comes back from Iraq or Afghanistan, you can get a full 4-year education at a public university like Rutgers. We changed the direct student loan program so that the banks couldn't continue to rip off students by charging fees, and now the program goes directly through the government. We also increased the work-study program. When I was a student at Rutgers, I was able to get both a scholarship as well as a direct student loan, and we also had work-study. So all those things need to be increased, and we did that quite a bit in the last Congress, and I think we need to do more of it.
Has there been a decision on what will happen to the Fort Monmouth Pharmacy, and what role, I'm adding, what role do congressmen play in that?
Well, myself and Rush Holt are both working to try to convince the Army that they should keep a lot of the existing facilities there, and that would include the Veterans Clinic, which the Veterans Administration has said that they will continue either at the current site or somewhere else close by. The commissary, you mentioned the pharmacy, and there are others that we feel should stay there. We've basically been trying to point out in our discussions and our correspondence with the Army that because of the large number of retirees, that even when Fort Monmouth closes, that all these facilities would continue to be used, and that it would be a real hardship to send those retirees down to Fort Dix or McGuire, which of course is what they suggest. So we're going to continue to work on that. It's also true, as you know, that we have a lot, that we continue to have Earl. So one of the arguments that we're making is that all these facilities can be used by Earl Naval Weapons Station as well. It's not just Fort Monmouth.
Thank you.
I need to call our attention back to when Fort Monmouth was closed. I will tell you that at the time that the closure was announced, I was at the freeholder level. I know that the freeholder board in Monmouth County intervened strongly because we felt that our congressional representatives were absent on this issue and silent on this issue. The loss of Fort Monmouth results in the loss of thousands of jobs, not only in Monmouth County, but throughout the district and throughout the state. Because of this, an economic development summit occurred in 2006 at my direction as a freeholder, where we showcased a business incubation model to try to replace those jobs. We have also seen that FMERPA and FMERA are using that element as part of a solution to the lost jobs at Fort Monmouth. It does not take care of the fact that New York is a target, and we now do not have the fort as an opportunity to respond upon attack. That we can't get back. As far as the veterans and their commissary and their medical care, I would like to point out again that without the military, we have no nation. And anyone who is willing to lay their life on the line for me should have the best of whatever America has to offer, free of charge. We need to take care of our veterans. They are the best.
Let me close by saying this. I'd like to close with my vision of where we go from here. And I want to stress again the Make It in America agenda. Everything we do at a federal level should be designed to try to bring jobs back here, create jobs, whether it's looking at the tax code in ways that benefit small businesses, encouraging investment here, encouraging new starts, encouraging invention here. I think for too long, we haven't paid attention to the manufacturing strategy. We need to have a national manufacturing strategy. I have also voted against most of the free trade agreements because I thought that they would send jobs overseas. And so we have to look at some of the practices of some of the countries where they subsidize jobs and basically make it easier for companies to go to China or other countries from the United States, and we lose jobs here because there are many unfair trade practices that China and other countries practice that we need to put an end to. So whether it's the tax code, whether it's an investment strategy, whether it's a national manufacturing strategy, we need to make things here in America. And I believe that the 6th Congressional District can benefit from that kind of a Make It in America strategy to create jobs in the future. And thank you very much for your sponsorship.
My closing statement, I would like to recap as we began with the issues that you have told me are most important and facing you in this election cycle and going forward. That is jobs, the economy and taxes as it relates to jobs, health care, and as also that relates to taxes and jobs, and then immigration as that relates to health care and jobs. I did pick up a few issues that I think we need to include as well in this closing. The national manufacturing policy is offensive to me. I believe the Congressman uses China as an example for that. I do believe that business and a free market economy is the way to go with regard to economic growth. That is what made America strong in our history. It will make us strong again. As far as energy independence, which was referenced, and solar and alternative energy, I was a supporter of biodiesel in Monmouth County as a freeholder, which is still being used today. I will tell you that wind, the output is a problem, the expense is big. I think, at some government levels, it's not an effective way. Solar panels we're looking at in Highlands, we're looking at water turbine. But if we want to achieve energy independence as a matter of national security, we need to put Americans to work today with every available resource that can be domestically produced. And we can do so with all of the people that are out of work, the 15 million Americans who today need jobs. I want to work for you in Washington. I'm going to bring your voice.